The 20th century witnessed a dark period in human history, marked by the rise of Adolf Hitler and his Nazi regime. Hitler's leadership, fueled by ideologies of racial supremacy and territorial expansion, left an indelible mark on Germany and the world. His actions plunged nations into a devastating global conflict, resulting in unprecedented human suffering and loss. The ramifications of his reign of terror continue to resonate today, serving as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance against extremist ideologies. Hitler's ascent to power was a complex phenomenon, shaped by a confluence of factors, including Germany's socio-economic turmoil, political instability, and the allure of his charismatic leadership. His rise serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the dangers of unchecked nationalism, propaganda, and the suppression of dissent. Understanding this dark chapter in history is crucial for preventing similar tragedies in the future. The world grapples with the legacy of Hitler's actions, seeking to learn from the past and build a future grounded in peace, tolerance, and mutual respect. The lessons drawn from this era underscore the importance of safeguarding democratic values, promoting inclusivity, and challenging extremist ideologies. This essay will delve into Hitler's political journey, examining the key turning points that led to his rise to power and the devastating consequences of his rule. Adolf Hitler was born in Austria in 1889. His early life was marked by a strained relationship with his father and a close bond with his mother. He aspired to be an artist but faced rejection from the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. This setback fueled his resentment and contributed to his growing sense of disillusionment. Hitler's formative years were spent in Vienna, a city teeming with political and social ferment. He was exposed to various ideologies, including German nationalism and anti-Semitism. These ideas resonated with his own frustrations and anxieties, shaping his worldview and influencing his later political beliefs. In 1913, Hitler moved to Munich, Germany, seeking a fresh start. When World War I erupted in 1914, he eagerly enlisted in the German army. He served with distinction, earning the Iron Cross for bravery. The war had a profound impact on Hitler, intensifying his nationalism and solidifying his belief in German military superiority. The war's end in 1918 left Germany defeated and humiliated. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh reparations on Germany, further fueling resentment and instability. Hitler, like many Germans, felt betrayed by the government and yearned for a return to national pride and glory. This climate of disillusionment and anger created fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. Post-war Germany was a nation in turmoil. The economy was in shambles, with hyperinflation wiping out savings and plunging millions into poverty. Unemployment soared, leading to widespread social unrest and political instability. The Weimar Republic, Germany's fledgling democracy, struggled to maintain order and address the nation's mounting problems. Amidst this chaos, extremist groups proliferated, exploiting the widespread discontent and fear. These groups offered simplistic solutions to complex problems, often scapegoating minorities and promising a return to national greatness. Hitler's National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, later known as the Nazi Party, emerged as one of the most prominent extremist groups. The Nazi Party's platform appealed to a broad spectrum of Germans, particularly those who felt marginalized and disenfranchised. Hitler's charisma, fiery rhetoric, and promises of national revival resonated with a population yearning for stability and a return to national pride. The Nazi ideology was a toxic brew of nationalism, racism, and anti-Semitism. Hitler blamed Germany's woes on a Jewish conspiracy, fueling hatred and prejudice. He promised to restore Germany to its former glory, purging it of undesirable elements and establishing a racially pure Aryan nation. His message, amplified through propaganda and rallies, resonated with a population desperate for change. In 1923, Hitler and his followers attempted to seize power in Munich in what became known as the Beer Hall Putsch. The coup failed, and Hitler was arrested and imprisoned. Despite the setback, the incident gained him notoriety and provided a platform for him to disseminate his ideas. During his brief imprisonment, Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, My Struggle, a rambling manifesto outlining his political ideology and plans for Germany's future. The book became a bestseller, further spreading his message of hate and intolerance. Hitler used his trial to gain publicity, transforming himself from a failed revolutionary into a martyr for the nationalist cause. Upon his release, Hitler reorganized the Nazi Party, adopting a more strategic approach to gaining power. He focused on building a mass movement, exploiting legal means to achieve his goals. He understood the importance of appealing to a broad base of support, presenting himself as a strong leader capable of restoring order and prosperity. The economic crisis of the late 20s played a crucial role in Hitler's rise. The Great Depression deepened Germany's economic woes, pushing millions into unemployment and despair. The Weimar Republic's inability to address the crisis further eroded public confidence in democracy, paving the way for extremist ideologies to gain traction. In the early 1930s, a surge in support for the Nazi Party was evident. Hitler's message of national revival and economic recovery resonated deeply with a population desperate for change. The party's disciplined organization, its propaganda machine, and its paramilitary wing, the Sturmabteilung, or SA, intimidated opponents and created an atmosphere of fear and intimidation. In the July 1932 elections, the Nazis emerged as the largest party in the Reichstag, Germany's parliament. Although they fell short of a majority, their electoral success demonstrated the growing appeal of their extremist ideology. Political instability continued, with the Weimar Republic paralyzed by infighting and unable to form a stable government. In January 1933, President Paul von Hindenburg appointed Hitler as Chancellor of Germany. This fateful decision, driven by political maneuvering and underestimation of Hitler's ambitions, marked a turning point in German history. Hitler, a master of political strategy, exploited his position to consolidate power and dismantle the Weimar Republic. Within months, Hitler had transformed Germany into a totalitarian state. He suspended civil liberties, banned opposition parties, and established a climate of fear and repression. The Reichstag fire, a suspected arson attack on the parliament building, provided a pretext for Hitler to further tighten his grip on power. He blamed the fire on communists, using it as justification for mass arrests and suppression of dissent. With opposition crushed, Hitler moved swiftly to consolidate his power. He established the Gestapo, a secret police force tasked with eliminating dissent and terrorizing the population. The Enabling Act, passed by the Reichstag in March 1933, granted Hitler dictatorial powers, effectively ending the Weimar Republic and paving the way for the establishment of the Nazi dictatorship. Hitler systematically eliminated all potential rivals within the Nazi Party. The Night of the Long Knives, a purge of the SA leadership in June 1934, consolidated his control over the party and silenced any internal dissent. Ernst Röhm, leader of the SA, and other prominent figures were murdered, solidifying Hitler's position as the unchallenged leader of the Nazi regime. Having secured absolute power, Hitler turned his attention to transforming German society. He implemented policies aimed at creating a racially pure Aryan nation, persecuting Jews, Roma, and other minorities. He established a cult of personality, promoting himself as the infallible Führer, the savior of the German people. Propaganda played a crucial role in shaping the Nazi narrative and consolidating Hitler's grip on power. Joseph Goebbels, the Minister of Propaganda, masterfully manipulated public opinion, using radio, film and print media to disseminate Nazi ideology and demonize opponents. He created a cult of personality around Hitler, portraying him as a charismatic leader destined to lead Germany to greatness. Propaganda and control shaping the Nazi narrative. The Nazi regime controlled all aspects of German life, from education and culture to the economy and media. Schools became indoctrination centers, teaching Nazi ideology and promoting racial hatred. Censorship stifled dissent and books deemed un-German were burned. The arts were co-opted to glorify the Nazi regime and promote its ideology. The economy was restructured to serve the needs of the state. Hitler's policies focused on rearmament and military expansion, laying the groundwork for future aggression. Public works projects, such as the construction of the Autobahn, provided employment and boosted national pride. However, these achievements came at a cost, as individual liberties were suppressed and dissent was ruthlessly crushed. Hitler's regime implemented a series of discriminatory laws targeting Jews, stripping them of their rights and subjecting them to persecution. The Nuremberg laws, enacted in 1935, defined Jews as a separate race and deprived them of German citizenship. These laws paved the way for further discrimination and violence against Jews, culminating in the horrors of the Holocaust. The Nazi regime's control extended to all aspects of German society. Youth organizations, such as the Hitler Youth and the League of German Girls, indoctrinated young people, instilling in them Nazi ideology and preparing them for service to the state. Mass rallies and spectacles reinforced the cult of personality surrounding Hitler, creating an atmosphere of adulation and blind obedience. Hitler's foreign policy was driven by his ambition to expand German territory and establish German dominance in Europe. He violated the Treaty of Versailles by remilitarizing the Rhineland in 1936, a move that met with little resistance from other European powers. Emboldened by this success, Hitler continued his aggressive expansionist policies. In 1938, Hitler annexed Austria, realizing his long-held dream of uniting all German-speaking peoples under one flag. The Anschluss, as it was known, was met with popular support in Austria, but it further alarmed other European powers who feared Hitler's growing ambition and disregard for international agreements. Hitler then turned his attention to Czechoslovakia, demanding the annexation of the Sudetenland, a region with a large German population. The Munich Agreement, signed in September 1938 by Germany, Italy, Britain and France, ceded the Sudetenland to Germany in an attempt to appease Hitler and avoid war. However, this act of appeasement only emboldened Hitler, who viewed it as a sign of weakness. In March 1939, Hitler violated the Munich Agreement by occupying the rest of Czechoslovakia. This act of aggression shattered any remaining illusions about Hitler's intentions and convinced other European powers that war was inevitable. Britain and France issued guarantees of support to Poland, fearing that it would be Hitler's next target. On September 1st, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland, marking the beginning of World War II. The war, fueled by Hitler's insatiable ambition and fueled by Nazi ideology, resulted in unprecedented human suffering and devastation. Millions perished in the conflict, victims of combat, genocide and crimes against humanity. The Holocaust, the systematic genocide of Jews and other minorities, stands as a chilling testament to the horrors of the Nazi regime. Millions were murdered in concentration camps, victims of Hitler's twisted ideology of racial purity. The scale and brutality of the Holocaust shocked the world, leaving an indelible scar on human history. The war ended in 1945 with Germany's defeat. Hitler, facing imminent capture, committed suicide in his bunker in Berlin. The Nazi regime, responsible for unimaginable suffering and destruction, was finally brought to an end. The world emerged from the war scarred and traumatized, grappling with the legacy of Hitler's actions. The post-war era witnessed efforts to rebuild Europe and prevent future atrocities. The Nuremberg trials held Nazi leaders accountable for their crimes, establishing the principle that individuals are responsible for their actions, even during wartime. The United Nations was founded with the goal of maintaining international peace and security, preventing future conflicts. The rise of Hitler and the horrors of the Nazi regime serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked nationalism, propaganda, and the suppression of dissent. The lessons learned from this dark chapter in history underscore the importance of safeguarding democratic values, promoting inclusivity and challenging extremist ideologies. Remembering the past is crucial for shaping a better future. Education plays a vital role in preventing history from repeating itself. By understanding the factors that contributed to the rise of Nazism, we can develop strategies to counter extremist ideologies and promote tolerance and understanding. The world continues to grapple with the legacy of Hitler's actions. The Holocaust serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of hatred and intolerance. We must remain vigilant against all forms of discrimination and prejudice, striving to build a world where such atrocities are never repeated. The rise of Hitler stands as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of safeguarding democratic values. By learning from the past, we can work towards a future grounded in tolerance, mutual respect, and a commitment to preventing similar tragedies.